It all started with a crash landing on the barren, lifeless surface. So barren that even the atmosphere packed up and left. We hit the dust and stumbled out of our crashed pod. Our mission? Turn this desolate rock into a lush paradise. Why? Because a console said so.
Armed with nothing but the tiniest oxygen tank in existence and sheer determination, we set out. Not for long though, because suffocation is real. Iron by iron, we get closer to building our first base. And, spoiler, this is harder than it sounds, especially when your co-partner keeps spending them on furniture.
And this is how our terraformation quest in the Planet Crafter started. We played for roughly 50 hours, and in this co-op review we will cover everything you need to know about the game, the co-op aspect, and a lot more.
So, in the Planet Crafter, you play a convicted criminal abandoned on a barren planet by a corporation with the mission to terraform it into something habitable. Only if you succeed, the charges against you will be dropped. Luckily, you are not the only convicted criminal, as you can have up to 9 more criminals in your online co-op session.
Currently, there is no option to have dedicated servers running, so make sure the most active one among you hosts the session. All progression is saved on their account, so you can only continue when your original host is online.
Setting up a new session as the host is very simple. Create a new save file, load into the game, and invite everyone over the menu. The host is also the only one who may alter the difficulty settings for the session, which are fixed after the creation.
Your terraformation quest starts right from the get-go without any character creation. Every player will look the same and never leave their spacesuit. The only way of minimalistic character customization is later along the way, as you can discover different colored suits in shipwrecks.
There is also no lengthy tutorial phase, just a few minor milestones, which has the benefit of allowing any one of your friends and family to join into a progressed game at a later point. At the same time, that means that your group will have to figure out most hows and whys themselves.
The character progression is limited to equipping better tools and gadgets, but there are no skill trees or abilities. You will unlock things like a faster terraformation chip, bigger backpacks, and even a jetpack later on. This can be a big plus if someone in your group has to catch up, as you can just provide them with any material needed to do that. The main progression, however, is tied to boosting your planet's atmosphere stats: oxygen, heat, pressure, and biomass.
The planet is generally hostile when starting out, because of the lack of an atmosphere. But there are no other hazards than that, so no monsters to fight or other dangers to avoid, aside from the survival aspects, of course. You will have to monitor your oxygen, water, and food levels, or faint and restart from your base.
New equipment and buildings are unlocked by progressing the planet's terraformation process. As those need progressively rarer materials and more complex crafted compounds, you find yourself in a gameplay loop of exploration, resource gathering, and material crafting. Better production buildings will boost your terraformation stats, which in turn means reaching new milestones and unlocks faster.
However, that also means that the more players you have in your session, the faster you progress, as you can efficiently split the workload. Different fields can be assigned to each player, like having one person optimizing energy production while the other cranks up the biomass. Besides the shared workload, there is not much co-op content in Planet Crafter, to be frank. It took us a while to notice, but left us a bit confused, to be honest. Also, keep in mind that more people means also crafting more equipment.
And some of the resources needed for that can be limited at times, so you will have to prioritize someone over the others. Not even the survival mechanics have co-op friendly elements. You will have to watch your co-op partners faint if they are running out of oxygen, without any possibility to help them back up. The only interaction is exchanging items from your backpack.
That might sound unfavorable co-op-wise, but we still think that playing Planet Crafter with others can be very fun. Working together on a huge common goal feels way more rewarding than playing alone. And you can cover periods of time where your progression slows down with venturing out and exploring or rebuilding your base together.
And those dry patches will happen, especially in mid-game, or, to be fair, occasionally from early to end-game. You will go out, gather resources, fill your very limited backpack while having to leave some behind, return to your base to drop them off, rinse and repeat. Outside of that cycle, you will upgrade your machines, optimize your buildings, and, as we said, sometimes you will just wait for a number to go up on your Terraformation screen.
Aside from that, there is no big main story questline you have to follow. The lore and some background story bits and bytes are told exclusively through emails and terminals. The latter can be especially frustrating, because your oxygen drainage will not stop when reading the terminals. Also, there were some unique texts and some that just repeated themselves, although in different locations. It's not a deep story, but it has its small highlights, if you're able to find these texts and manage to piece them together yourself.
There is no clear endgame, but multiple terraformation stages to unlock as you progress. You have a water stage where lakes form and an insect stage where larvae start to pop up on the surface, to name a few. Some unlocks feel especially rewarding, like restoring a breathable atmosphere, while others are less noticeable.
The most endgame style activity besides terraformation would be the portal generator. It lets you travel to other procedurally generated planets that act like dungeons. Each one of those has multiple treasure boxes and a shipwreck filled with furniture blueprints and materials. However, as the layouts of the shipwrecks are twisted and complicated, this activity can get tedious quickly.
What do you mean? Searching the exit for 20 minutes is fun, isn't it? That said, you could technically play on forever, if you feel like it. You will reach a point where you have unlocked all milestones, and the atmospheric stats just keep on going. Then, you can just watch the beautiful scenery, listen to the relaxing background music, or do some more tweaking here and there.
Once you've finished admiring the scene, there is more to explore, as the Planet Crafter lately received 2 mentionable updates, the Rover and the DLC Planet Humble. The Rover is a vehicle that lets you traverse flat terrain faster, and you can even bring your friends along in the backseat and store some extra loot. It's a great addition to the game, but only if you really emphasize the flat terrain. Every small obstacle, material or bump in the ground will have your rover trip, fall or flip. This can get a little bit annoying, especially if you have passengers with you, because for them, crashes can quickly become deadly. Sorry, Lumi.
Next time, I drive. Planet Humble added a whole new planet, around half the size of the one in the base game, with a handful of new buildings. We found Humble to be exceptionally beautiful when terraformed all the way to the end, but the limited space also took a bit away from the fun of exploring together. Also, only the host of your group needs to buy this DLC, the others just require the base game.
So, we talked about what you can do in Planet Crafter, together or by yourself. But how valuable is the co-op aspect really for this game?
While co-op might not add a special twist or tweak to the experience mechanics-wise, it feels really satisfying to work on their common goal together, with everyone contributing something. Logically, you also get less playtime out of it the larger your group is, but that's not really a big issue, since you cannot speed up the terraformation progression indefinitely. And a little boost to leave the dusty planet phase behind and get into the later, more beautiful stages is very welcome, we would say.
Also, Planet Crafter is extremely approachable difficulty-wise, so you can play with almost anybody, no matter their skill level or experience with gaming. The controls are easy to learn, and the only pressure you will have is from managing your oxygen, food and water levels. Even fainting is not the end of the world, as you can go back and gather your belongings. Or, you may disable this feature altogether in the difficulty settings before you start a new game.
And if you get bored, your group can split up and explore the vistas and crash sites for some rare loot.
And this leads us to the communication aspects. Because, believe it or not, once you split up, don't expect to see each other again until you make it to a very distinguishable site or back to your base. The game doesn't provide a map in the beginning, and the one you can unlock later does not track the player's locations. So you'll often find yourself scattered around the map, asking yourself, "Dude, where the heck is my crew?"
Over here, by that rock! And since the planets do have some verticality, you will be lost and out of sight in no time. Honestly, with the sandstorms and particles sometimes, your partner could be standing right inside and you wouldn't notice. The only way we found was crafting a beacon item and placing it down, but that requires more advanced items.
Although you can interact with each other, as there is a built-in chat and some emotes, there is no voice chat, so you will have to rely on external tools like Discord. When one of you needs assistance far away from the base, you can show just how great your orientation skills really are when setting out on a rescue mission.
Aside from that, enjoying the Planet Crafter doesn't require any particular abilities, such as quick reaction or rapid learning. Therefore, as long as you enjoy the game's basic concept, you can play it with your parents, friends, spouse, or kids. Since you're very little codependent, the conflict potential is also very small, making it the perfect candidate for a peaceful gaming session.
When it comes to difficulty and suitability, there is quite a wide variety of adjustments possible. From a hardcore run where the save file is deleted upon death, to a cozy run without survival mechanics and resource usage, everything is possible. Just keep your whole group in mind when it comes to difficulty, as you can't change it once you create the save game.
Accessibility-wise, we wanted to mention that if confined spaces or darkness make you feel uneasy, be warned, as the shipwrecks you explore are pitch black and confusing to navigate, especially with the added pressure of having to get back out quickly when your oxygen is running low. Also, as a heads up, there are no accessibility options like colorblind filters.
So, to wrap this section up, if you and your group enjoy having a big goal to work towards over several sessions without overly punishing or complex mechanics, and would love to turn an entire planet from barren lands into a lush oasis, this one could be for you. On the contrary, if you're looking for an action-packed game, love combat, engaging stories and character progression, this game might not be for you. Same if you're easily bored by repetitive tasks like gathering the same resources over and over.
The repetitive nature got a bit better with the new machine, the Ore Crusher, introduced with the DLC Planet Humble, as it relieves you a bit from those constant material-specific gathering duties. But what's planned for the future of the game? Aside from that DLC, we don't know of any other major plans of development nor roadmaps for now, but there are still constant patches rolling out every couple of weeks. A few more co-op-specific quality of life implementations would make the game even more fun, but it's quite enjoyable as of now.
So, with a better picture on what to expect gameplay-wise, let's touch upon the technical part. During our 50 hours of playing, we had neither crashes nor bigger bugs or glitches, but we still had some noticeable visual popping here and there. This increases as your planet progresses into later stages with more structures and particles loading in. Some environmental structures also looked a little rough, and some didn't have collision, but the overall performance always felt smooth. Also, as mentioned before, the Planet Crafter is not very hardware hungry, which is a plus if you want to play with someone who doesn't have the latest tech at hand.
Before we wrap things up, we wanted to mention our personal positives and negatives.
I especially liked balancing all the terraformation sources, as it gives you a constantly moving target to pursue and divide your group's attention in between. On the contrary, the lack of co-op-specific aspects lets you feel a little bit disconnected from time to time.
I was really glad that you took on all the stats fine-tuning. For me, watching the planet change from a yellow barren plain into a green paradise with trees and animals felt really satisfying. What really disappointed me though were the downtimes between milestones. If you weren't constantly improving your setup, it took ages to get new unlocks, and I am one of those bored easily players.
And those were our thoughts, pros and cons. Although it might not be the most co-op focused game out there, it is still a lot of fun to play together with like-minded people. And who knows, maybe an update in the future will add these features and another challenging planet on top.
The game and its DLC cost around $30 together, outside of discounts, thus being on the less expensive side for the playtime you get out of it. But whether it's a good pick for your money is up to you, and we hope our review helped you make that decision.
If you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up will definitely speed up the terraformation progress. Trust us!
Thank you for watching. We wish you lots of fun terraforming your own planet with your favorite people, and we hope to see you again next time.